What is up, Mets fans? Welcome back to another episode of the Mets Up Podcast, episode number 147. This should be the last one where we do not talk about any offseason moves because the World Series should be over by next week. But we have a bunch of great stuff to talk about in today's episode.
Plenty.
We did an interview with Jay Horowitz, which you guys can go check out. The amazing Mets alumni podcast, I believe it's called, or some variation of that. We were hanging out with Omar Minaya today, which is going to be a lot of fun. A couple hours.
We didn't even get halfway through.
Didn't even get halfway through. Not even close. We got Silver Slugger stuff to talk about. Buck being nominated Manager of the Year.
Stuff. Wow.
Justin Turner rumor. Maybe we'll talk about that as the only thing, and we'll talk about the first two games of the World Series, along with the big, what you guys have been waiting for all offseason, the minor league breakdown. We're wrapping up the minor league season here, talking about everybody who had a good year out there, and John's got some trivia for us too as well. So you guys know the drill. If you like us, if you're enjoying what you're seeing here, make sure you're following us on all our social media at MetsUp on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. If you're looking for the YouTube video, it's on the New York Mets YouTube channel. Go over there and subscribe. And if you're listening to us, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, wherever you get your podcasts, drop us a rating, review, download, and subscribe. James, I don't have to bring you in. You already spoke, but how you feeling?
Feel good. I mean, that interview with Omar was nuts. The interview with Jay last week, you guys should listen to, was also a lot of fun. We've already been parsing those out onto TikTok and Instagram Reels.
Shout out to Vito for making some good edits.
Great editor, producer Vito. Say hi to the people, Vito. First time on the mic.
Hey, guys. Thank you. I've been having a lot of fun putting those little Instagrams and TikToks together.
They're very whimsical. They're hilarious.
I like them.
A lot of zoom-ins and jump cuts.
Yes, and funny little graphics. But the TikTok's going to be more active now with Vito at the helm. So you guys keep an eye out for that.
That's what we've been missing.
Yeah, and then Omar eventually. I don't know when it's actually going to come out.
It's going to be like an 8-part series.
Yeah, it's like a 30 for 30, just about every single thing that happened in the Mets from like 2005 to 2010, which that was like our prime of Mets fans. So I hope a lot of you guys who are maybe of similar age, a little bit older, maybe a little bit younger, you guys missed that era. You guys will enjoy that a lot. But
do you think 9, 10-year-old Mark and James ever thought they'd be talking to Omar Minaya? Not just for like
a small chance.
Not just like a hey, how are you, but like 2 hours and now we're gonna do another couple hours.
Being complimented by Omar Minaya?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
Getting stories from Omar Minaya? It was pretty amazing. That was like a little. Every single time we do this, like a little culmination, like one more step forward, one more cool thing.
It is cool. At some point, it's gonna be great. It's gonna be great.
Yeah, for sure. Now let's talk about some Mets stuff here. At first, Silver Slugger nominations. The Mets had a ton of them because they had a really good season, a lot of good hitters.
Is this the appropriate time to use the word a litany?
Yeah, litany.
Okay, nice.
Litany
SAT word of the
Sluggers.
day. Haven't dropped that on you guys in a while. We've been so focused on baseball. When we first started the podcast, the Mets were not playing so well, so we could just drop in those fun SAT words. Now it's all baseball. But as we know, it's the offseason. So, at first base, of course, the Mets got Pete Alonso. He's going up against Goldschmidt, Freeman, Olsen, and Christian Walker. Pete Alonso's my pick. No kidding.
I think Goldschmidt will probably win.
Or Freeman.
Freeman.
It's a really tough position there.
Definitely third, though.
Yeah, definitely third. Second base, we got Jeff McNeil, who got nominated, going up against Jake Cronenworth, Ketel Marte, Colton Wong, and Brendan Rodgers. If Jeff McNeil does not win this,
I was going to say, he has to be the odds-on favorite.
Riots.
How
Riots
many
in the
games
streets.
did Ketel Marte even play this year?
That's crazy he's on here. He also, I think, had a bad year. I don't think he even played well because he was on my fantasy
wasn't that
team.
good. He got hot and cold at times. I'm going to get his at-bats here because that's just kind of ridiculous.
But yeah, it should 100% be Jeff McNeil.
Not even
140
500 at bats.
Not even 500. How does he qualify?
Yeah, I mean, 558 plate appearances, 137 games. Like, that part of it's not crazy, but 12 homers and, and 240 average.
That's anemic. It's got to be Jeff McNeil.
102 WRC plus. It's probably Jeff McNeil here. I mean,
Batting title, and he was also
Colton
great.
Wong sneaky had a good year.
I don't care.
No,
I
it should be Jeff McNeil, the best year in that list, for sure.
Didn't get anyone at third base, as we know. Shortstop, we did get someone, though. We got Francisco Lindor, which that makes a lot of sense, going up against Trey Turner, Willie Adames, and Dansby Swanson. This one's close.
You probably won't win it, though.
This
That's
one's
probably
close.
for Turner. And then they'll probably give Dansby the gold glove, and it'll just be another chip on Lindor's shoulders for next year.
Yeah, I feel like if this was maybe like 1984, Francisco Lindor could have it locked up because he drove in a ton of runs.
But Trey Turner, the higher batting average. So in
that's a good
1984, I think he still finds a way to lose.
a good point.
Maybe.
Okay, it'd be close. It'd be close.
Yeah.
In the outfield, a couple Mets as well, which I like to see because these guys definitely deserve to get some recognition offensively. Starling Marte and Brandon Nimmo. They're going up against Mookie Betts, Kyle Schwarber, Juan Soto, Jock Peterson, Michael Harris, Brian Reynolds, and Hunter Renfroe. So I think both of those guys legit have a chance because they picked 3, right? So
Hunter Renfroe has shockingly good year. I was about to chastise that pick, but he actually played quite well this year.
yeah, no, he did. Jock obviously had the hot start to the year.
Yeah, Nimmo. There's no reason Nimmo shouldn't win that.
Or Marte even. I know Marte didn't play at the end of the year, but
I mean, I think Harris and Mookie is going to be hard to defeat.
it's going to be hard to beat Schwarber as well, maybe with the home runs.
Yeah. Maybe we get one in there.
Yeah, I'd like to sneak in one in outfield. And as well, Jeff McNeil got nominated again, this time at the utility position because they also have a utility for Silver Slugger. So he could, in theory, and he should based on this list.
Yeah.
Win 2 Silver Sluggers in 1 year, which I don't think has ever been done before.
Everyone is so horny for Tommy Edman after this year that they're going to find a way to give him as many awards as possible they probably does not deserve.
Going up against Brandon Drury, Edmund, Tyro Estrada, and Chris Taylor.
Edman did have a great year, though. I don't want to chastise Edman, but I think Jeff McNeil's had a better one,
Way better
especially if
year.
you just say the plate.
Just strictly hitting.
Yes.
Just strictly hitting.
There's almost no argument there.
It's got to be Jeff McNeil.
Tyro Estrada is a finalist.
Yeah. He had
Tyro
a good
Estrada
year.
had a sneaky good year.
He had a good year. He was on my fantasy team as well.
104 OPS plus.
I think the bigger gripe is Chris Taylor. I don't think Chris Taylor should be
yeah,
anywhere
shots
close to
fired.
this list.
Reputation.
Tyro Estrada carried me in like my deepest fantasy baseball league because I took him in like the 47th round just based on the fact that he had like really good AAA stats last year and a great barrel rate and a very small sample, and he just played every single day.
Tyro Estrada
Every
was
single day.
part of the great players that I was able to pick up on the waiver wire this year to really boost up my dynasty team in the league I'm in with you. So
Absolutely.
I know for sure he had a great year. And then we got Buck Showalter being nominated for the National League Manager of the Year.
Yep.
I mean, they had a great year.
Great
They had a
year.
great year.
Yeah,
Tons
great
of great
year.
people out there. Good luck to Buck.
Yeah. Good luck.
Bring
Buck.
another one home for the Mets. Let's
Good
do
luck,
it.
Buck.
Good luck, Buck.
Good luck.
Good luck, Buck. And then I guess we'll just talk about the World Series briefly, right?
I mean, we should. It was an unbelievable weekend of baseball.
Was a really good weekend.
Like both games were good. I mean, one game was good because it was a good game, and another game was really good because the Phillies got smoked.
Would have preferred if Dusty Baker woke up a little bit in Game 1 and didn't let Justin Verlander go out there again, because don't like that the Phillies were able to sneak one away when they were down 5-0.
Yeah, for all the people out there who maybe aren't as closely tuned into the World
It's
Series.
possible.
I mean, I wasn't super closely tuned in until the World Series. The Astros jumped out to a big lead against Aaron Nola and the Phillies.
Hit him well.
Yes, and then Justin Verlander just kind of let it bleed away. Bleed away, bleed away, bleed away. And I do feel like, as a manager, there has to be a little bit of like a discomfort in the fact that you're like you're ace.
The Cy Young in the American League, probably.
Yeah, the guy who was one of the best pitchers in all of baseball this year, one of the best pitchers in the last generation of baseball. He continues to not be able to get it done in the World Series. I think after that game, any pitcher with at least 30 innings pitched, he has the highest World Series ERA of all time.
Yes, he
So
does.
statistically, Justin Verlander might be the worst World Series pitcher ever. But it's always something that because you're not going to take that as bond, like a 30 inning sample. And you almost can't believe he's still going to be this ineffective, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, at some point you think he's got to figure it out because he's so good. And you just saw him pitch off of Tommy John, a phenomenal year. But at the same time, sometimes guys just can't get it done in that scenario. Maybe that's the case. I mean, we've seen it with the Dodgers. You look at the Dodgers every year and you go, they should win the World Series. On paper, that's the best team in baseball, arguably. And they haven't won a real World Series since the 80s. So,
I mean, the old format, they would have won plenty of World Series. Like all those Yankee World Series. Dodgers would have won half of
when there was 8 teams in the league.
Yeah, and then one team straight from the National League to the World Series.
Yeah, I don't know what to do with Verlander in the postseason. It's tough, but again, we're not an Astros podcast, so we don't even have to really worry about it too much.
I want to look at it briefly though. I kind of miss like being able to look at this stuff. Like,
Yeah, go take a look.
The velocity's fine. Like
What's crazy is he was perfect.
Yeah.
9 up, 9 down.
and it felt like that
That's-
was going to be it.
That's like the curse almost too, though, is that because he was perfect, it almost gives like a false sense of security to a manager where it's like, well, he was so dominant, and then it must just be one bad inning, must just been a fluke.
Here's the big thing here, John. Justin Verlander didn't get any whiffs with his slider, and you only got one with non-fastball.
That's big.
So I feel like as a manager, maybe you saw that a time through that these pitches aren't really biting. That could have been your inclination, and maybe you only capping 4 or 5. But then it's a respect thing. Like you're gonna take Justin Verlander out of a World Series in the game in the 4th inning.
Yeah. I mean,
know.
it
That
also
part of
comes
it's
down
weird.
to that the offense stopped hitting as well after they put up 5.
sure.
They completely stopped against the Phillies bullpen that we know is very hittable. So
It is very hittable, but
it?
you gotta give credit where it's
It
due.
is
They've been
hittable.
awesome.
Is it? Yes.
They've been awesome this whole postseason run.
cool. Yeah, they have. But Jose Alvarado coming into it, you felt confident?
Since Jose Alvarado came back up to the major leagues after his stint down, he's been incredibly effective.
Eflin's
Zach
the one
Eflin-
guy I'll give credit
Zach
to.
Eflin's a dude. I've loved Zach Eflin forever.
I'll give Eflin credit
Yes,
all day.
the patellar issue. He learned how to follow through only about 4 years ago now.
If the Phillies are smart, he'll never start another game for them.
Yeah, I
How
mean,
about Sir Anthony Dominguez?
Sure,
Sanders
Anthony's got good
Dominguez-
stuff.
It's all right. We have to talk about this for a second because it's pretty upsetting and aggravating that the Phillies are like on the doorstep of winning a World Series with the Mets strategy,
Yeah,
having two monsters and then the freakiest closer you can find.
yeah.
Just the fact that their monsters are a little bit younger and their closer we don't perceive him as being as good. Sir Anthony Dominguez has been one of the best players in the entire postseason. He's
been really good.
It's the birth of a superstar
He has
right
been
now.
lights
The
out.
way he comes into the game, there's almost like there's no chance for anybody to get a hit. He'd made like Jordan Alvarez look bad.
Yeah. It's tough to make Jordan look bad.
I don't know. That part of it is especially frustrating for me.
David Robertson, though, looks very hittable.
So
and if you're the
hittable. I can't
Astros,
wait
you
for the
want
blow-up
David
game.
Robertson to come in the 9th again because
They had him on the ropes in the 10th inning.
Aledmus Diaz with a historically bad at bat
No, it was.
for a guy who looked like he had zero interest in hitting. I've never seen someone like that overtly showing they don't want to be in a moment at all.
I was at a Halloween party Friday night, and we're watching the game a little bit there. and
How's the Halloween party?
Great time Halloween party.
What'd you
Amazing.
wear?
Ooh, good question.
Yeah.
I try to get creative with Halloween. I don't like to buy anything. So
You're a capitalist now. Come on. Two jobs.
Absolutely not. That's not how it works. I have this black silk robe that I'll wear sometimes, like certain concerts, or even sometimes just like around my house to be kind of
kimono.
frisky.
Wait, you wear
Isn't it
robes to
kimono?
concerts?
Yeah, some once in a while. Brooklyn, John.
I didn't know that they did that in Brooklyn. All
Yeah,
right.
you can do that. So, I mean, one time I wore it with like black jeans, like a black T-shirt, and it was like a formal look. I slayed.
You've seen nothing,
But-
John. You've seen
Yeah,
nothing.
you don't know anything about James outside of City Field. But I rocked that with with a guinea tee or whatever proper term we should use for that.
I don't think that's the one, but
What's the other one?
Shiano, you'll be all right.
oh yeah, the other one's worse. The other one's
Shiano,
worse.
you're all right.
that style of white tank top with the lines that everybody knows. That's a little bit
Undershirt,
tight.
undershirt.
Yeah,
But it's not an
White
undershirt.
sleeveless-
It was a tank top.
It's,
I
it's like a
gotcha.
tube
white,
top for men.
It was a white under tank. Whatever. Put in the log view though. I mean, of the two options, I thought that one was better.
Glad you said it, not me.
And I wore that with gray sweatpants, and I had a newspaper with me, and I was a stay-at-home dad.
That's
funny.
Yeah.
That's my
And
aspiration.
it cost you nothing.
You know, it cost me nothing, and it was a big hit.
I was scrambling.
Huge
I thought I
hit.
was going to
I
make
like
it to that
that.
party. I was scrambling for
Yeah.
ideas. I
Yeah,
didn't
no, I
end up making
invited
it.
Mark to the party, and he was like, I'm going to go. I need a costume. And the last second, he's like, I'm not coming. I was like, all right, whatever.
Listen, in retrospect, it was good because we did have a day on Saturday.
Yeah, we
had
did have a day
quite
on
a day
Saturday.
on
You
Saturday.
had more of a day. But so I went after that to a bar in Greenpoint. Shout out to Twins Lounge. It's definitely more of like a funky Brooklyn bar rather than a place with like beer and sports. And even though there is good beer there, but no TVs. So I was sitting in the corner literally by myself watching the game on my phone, like banging on the bar. Like I separated from all the people I went with. I was like, I'm going to watch baseball for 20 minutes. And then I went back.
Aledmus Diaz, man.
It was just like, I've never seen someone not want it more.
David Robertson was on the ropes.
So
too.
on the ropes.
Like the only guy who wanted it less than David Robertson happened to be the guy at the
Yeah.
plate at Aledmus Diaz because Robertson wanted nothing to do with that.
And I mean, you got to shout out the Phillies in that game. They kept Jordan off the board. Altuve
You love
only got a hit
shouting out the
late.
Phillies.
Like they're playing good baseball right now.
I
Like
just
as much as
can't.
you hate them, like Kyle Tucker's been
Really
incredible.
good. Yeah.
He's one of the best players in baseball, and I'm happy that a lot more of the world is starting to realize that. Alex Bregman is just he's statistically like the best World Series player ever now
One
at
of
this
them,
point.
yeah.
As far as third basemen go, especially, but the Phillies got tight when they had to, and that was a massive win for them. Changed the entire complexion of the series.
Astros dominated game two.
Dominated game
Yeah,
two.
dominated game two.
Wasn't even close.
Game 3 will be happening as we are currently recording this,
Yeah.
basically. Noah Syndergaard bounced out of this one. He's not
I
making
mean,
the start.
sometimes the moment's too big. We can understand that.
Yeah.
He skipped the game against the Mets too. That just happens.
Skipped a couple games against the Mets.
Yeah, I mean, also like if I'm the Phillies, like I'm not stupid here. Like he's a guy who can only give you 3-4 innings max. Like,
Yeah.
I want to push that back until we absolutely know we need it. Especially after they did use Ranger Suarez in relief in Game 1.
Yeah.
So they needed that extra rain day buffer. I know.
Lucky.
I mean, hey, sometimes you get lucky. That's kind of how baseball works.
Team of Destiny vibes is too much right now.
You guys mentioned game 2.
Yeah.
The real MVP of this World Series so far, I'm sure you guys have seen this.
Pat Hoberg.
129 out of 129 properly called non-swung at
Very
pitches.
good.
And I do believe he is the highest scored umpire in baseball during the regular season as well.
And then in the World Series, with literally the world watching you, to be perfect.
Perfect.
Good.
That's
Really
one of the
good.
greatest feats in baseball history when you think about it.
Okay, harder. Yeah, no, never mind. I'm not
What
going
were
to
you
ask.
gonna say?
Nope. I'm going to hold that one. I was going to ask a dumb question.
Wait, here, I have one. 2 grand slams in 1 inning.
Fernando Tatis.
Yeah. that's probably
that's
up
going
there.
down as probably one of the craziest
I
things
don't.
ever
I
happened
mean,
in baseball.
crazy, sure, but like you need the bases to be loaded.
That's true. It's not all about
Like
you.
you're just hitting the home
Yeah.
run. Pat Hoberg was 129 for 129 in a World Series game.
he was
Didn't
a
Burley have
perfect
14 straight perfect innings?
Go after his
Yeah, I think
Dwayne
so.
Wise saves.
Yeah.
Perfect. Maybe.
Because I
don't
remember
know.
he went a little bit into the next game with one too. That was one of the most impressive feats. No, but you're right. That, especially on a stage like that, and we've seen umpires like
Seen a few.
alter series before.
Yeah.
Like it's cool to see it pure.
Especially with barking from both sides. Like
Definitely.
there's studies about this with umpires and any referees. Like when home crowd and there's a lot of influences that impact human beings.
Of course.
So to not let any of that excess noise impact the way that you are going about officiating in a World Series game. I mean, I umpired some Little League baseball in my day, and
I dabbled.
I pride myself as someone who knows the strike zone pretty well. That's amazing.
Can we? So we've had John the ball boy. Can we get John the umpire for something?
No,
We got to get
I
John
don't
to
want-
umpire
I want John to
something.
umpire a Major
No,
League
not
game.
Major League game.
I
Maybe
wouldn't want him. I
maybe,
wouldn't want him.
maybe get him
Game
out to
either.
a little league field and let John umpire. Put
Maybe we develop our teams.
lace up the cleats again, John.
But I wear the bubble chest protector over the shirt.
Of course.
Do you do the hold in front or do you just wear
I'm
it?
holding in front.
All right,
yeah.
give me- all right.
Old school.
Because you don't want to get caught in the collarbone. You want to have the ability to move that thing around.
We got to hear the strike call.
What do you want to hear? Strike one
Yeah.
or two or three? I mean, they're all different.
All right, well, go 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, give us 1,
All
2,
right,
3.
All right. Strike one.
It's good. That's strong. That's a strong call.
Two.
Yeah, I
There
like
you
2.
go.
I like 2.
Strike three.
That's
That's pretty good. Go
Oh,
on,
and the
Steph.
punch. The punch as
You're-
well.
I mean, we're always punching.
yeah, I
We're
like
always
that.
punching.
I like
Anyway.
that.
All right. Yeah, anyway.
I made a kid cry once.
Really?
It was a girl from our high school's younger brother. And I got very dirty looks for her every single time I ever saw her again.
I was more of a basketball referee than I was an umpire. It was more prolific. I one time had to officiate through a massive brawl of 4th and 5th graders.
Are you serious?
In
Nice.
Smogwas Elementary School. There was like a minute and a half left in the game, and the way we set it up always, there was like an older ref and a younger ref. I was like
Oh, yeah.
I was like a sophomore in high school
remember
at the
doing
time.
that,
I think
yeah.
the other kid was like a college kid coming back or even a senior. And it was just like a chippy game. There was like one. It's like whenever there's like these like young basketball leagues, there's always like that one big kid.
Yeah.
And the kid he was a big kid, and he had a lot of mass to him. He had a lot of size, and he was getting hacked. I'm not going to call every one of those fouls. You can never call every one of those fouls. And I was getting chirped by his dad the entire game. It was
Rec league?
Yeah. Oh, of course.
Nice.
It was it was rec league. It wasn't CYO. So it was a little. His parents were much less tame.
Yeah.
I mean, depending on the day, sometimes you never know. It could go back and forth, but. The other team had like a very aggressive point guard. I remember this vividly, especially because he was someone we went to school with, his younger brother.
Okay.
Zubair Azad.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yes. So, and there was just a play where they basically came to each other at the front court, like the 2 stars, and there was a shove. And then another kid jumped in, and it was like, we were just like grabbing arms and bodies and like
awesome.
like separating children. And the crazy part, the first thing was we didn't end the game. We didn't finish the game. We just
Yeah.
got everyone off the court. People were pissed about that. Crazy part about the story is a few months later, in the summers, I was a lifeguard at the town pool. And I'm sitting in Westfield Memorial Pool. They had a beautiful water slide, one of their best features. And I'm sitting in the bottom of the slide, I feel like taking guys through the bottom of the slide.
It's a good slide.
Great slide. I'm in the pool, like lounging. I got my float. I'm hanging out. I got the whistle floating. We're having a good time. And someone comes behind me and said, "Hey." And I turned back, and it was the dad of the big kid
Oh, no.
from the rec league game.
Let
And-
it go,
and
man.
I had to sit there for the next like 15 minutes because that was how long the post took. And he chirped me the whole time
Let it
about rec
go.
league basketball, his son not getting foul calls in January.
what a
This
loser.
was July.
What a loser move.
Good memory.
Well,
that was my story from that was all our stories from officiating games.
And that just shows the true appreciation we can have for perfection of Pat
Absolutely.
Hellberg. What a job. What a job.
And we should wrap up World Series. I want to say one stat before we go. Something I told Mark on Saturday that was pretty disheartening.
Yeah.
If the Phillies do wrap this up and do the whole thing, I'm not going to say the sentence, but if they do finish it, this will be the 3rd consecutive full season of Major League Baseball that the Astros lost the World Series to a team from the National League East with less than 95 wins.
Oh, if that
The
happens,
3rd
sounds
consecutive season.
sounds like we're due if that happens.
I mean, theoretically, yeah. Or we really missed the boat.
Either way,
The 3rd straight year.
either way, we don't have one this year.
And this will absolutely, completely destroy any dynasty that they thought they were building in Houston.
Yeah, it's like the best
This is a big
non-dynasty.
but this is a
possibly.
huge teeter moment for a dynasty.
Yeah, 100%.
If they lose, is it not a dynasty? Like
I don't
for
think
sure?
I don't
No
think you
way.
can. I don't know. It's like it is in all sense of like we understand what they've built there.
No, it's an impressive run, but it's definitely not a dynasty. It's not enough championships.
are
titles.
Are
to
the
be a
Bills
dynasty.
and you lose
are
the-
the Bills a dynasty when they had that run where they kept losing every year?
Certainly not.
Yeah, so-
100% no.
I
I
don't
guess
think
history says no.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's tough. I mean, like it's so hard to get there over and over and
For
over
sure.
and over.
I'll take it. I'll take
Yeah.
what the Astros have done.
100,
all
I'll
day.
take it 10 times
All
over.
day.
But it's just, I don't think they can be considered. I think this World Series, it really changes the full perspective of how we're going to view this generation of Astros teams.
Definitely.
And even this generation of baseball in general, because then you lose that one dominant team. It just becomes this hodgepodge of bad National League East teams that weren't the Mets winning World Series.
Oh boy. All right, let's end it on that note. Let's end
Sure.
the World Series talk on that note because we haven't talked about the minor leagues in a long time.
Yeah.
Obviously, the season's over. No kidding. Thanks for that one, Mark.
Actually, months.
Yeah, it's been a really long time. And
Get too busy.
you guys always tell us you love to hear about the minor league stuff whenever we talk about it because there's not really a great place to get a lot of this information if you're a Mets fan. So let's go ahead and start talking about that. I did a super, super, super deep dive into all the guys that had good years. If you don't hear us talk about a player, it's probably because they had a disappointing year. Guys like Brett Beatty, Francisco Alvarez, guys who made up to the majors, not going to even talk about them because
heard
they
about
made
them.
it to the majors. You heard about them. They've done well. And we're also not going to talk about the picks from the past year, like Jet Williams, Kevin Parada, just because their samples are so incredibly small.
Blade.
It's not really worth speaking about yet. They all played well.
We should at least mention that all three of those guys had very encouraging starts to their careers, especially in a Mets team right now where they're really looking for impact pitching prospects. Blade Tidwell got rave reviews
awesome.
from scouts. Fastball, slider, both look amazing. He has that size of a frontline
Big
pitcher.
shoulders.
Yeah, he's a big fella. So we're really excited about all three of those guys. Hopefully, we maybe talk to them at some point in the future or tell you guys more about them when they play more. But push those off for now.
Yes. So let's talk about Alex Ramirez, who is probably the highest ranked prospect that we can talk about. Mets are losing a lot of guys. He might be their number one possibly going into next year.
I think he's definitely number one,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, I
Depending
think he should be.
Depending on how you compare him to Mauricio.
But he had a really good year. Second year, this was a guy that you found before anybody was really
Yeah,
on to
long
him.
time
So
ago.
shout out to you, James. Tip your cap there. Great year for him. 281 average, 346 on base, 436 slugging, 782 OPS. He had the highest batting average in the Mets farm system, which is a nice little thing to, put on your resume for Alex Ramirez,
Wait.
who was also young.
281 was the highest batting average in the Mets farm system.
Of guys that are
with
actually
actual
like
samples?
Francisco Alvarez,
Yeah,
those
yeah.
guys don't really count again.
Alvarez actually probably wasn't even
No, he
even
wasn't,
281
but
this year.
those guys eventually did come up. 119 WRC plus, which was really good, and he saw a 6 home run improvement from 2021, which is huge. This was a guy who was really young, playing at a pretty high level for his age. He's continuing to improve. Also cut the K rate down to 22%, and walk went all the way up to 8, which is nice.
That was critical for Alex Ramirez because when you have a prospect that's as tooled up as him,
Tools are there.
yeah, the tools are insane. You really want to be able to see play discipline come because that's the one thing that can really hurt these guys. And we saw some meteoric rises of guys in single A this year. I think about Jackson Chourio in the Brewers system, who out of nowhere just stopped really striking out. He still struck out a lot, but just like he married the power with the no strikeouts. Ramirez still is definitely behind that elite class of like these top 10 right now prospects.
Yeah.
It's not to say he's not someone who can get there in the future. And a big reason for that is because he cut his K rate dramatically.
Yep.
He jumped a level. First of all, his K rate stayed the same while he started the year at St. Lucie, where he played all of last year. And then he ended the year at high A, and K rate was way down.
And we know hitting in Brooklyn's hard.
Hitting Brooklyn's very hard, and he didn't really hit that well in Brooklyn. He's only 6% better than league average in terms of WRC plus. But just the fact he was able to go there and not struggle.
He's what, 20, 19?
He's still 19. He
Yes.
finished season at 19, so we'll play next year at 20. He'll reach AA at 20 years old, which is that kind of like elite level.
Yep.
And it just comes down to whether he can draw the walks and keep the strikeouts down and find the power. Because he's still more tools than production, especially in terms of power.
Yes.
He's got the long lever. He's got like the twitched up body. Like we need to see that become power.
100%.
And there's not saying it can't. There's also no saying that it will. I don't know. I've started to think prospects so much more in terms of like data and stats in the last like year or so. Just like working with more like data at work. And like he has a lot of what you want to see, but we still need to see one more level before we're like, this guy is elite.
No, 100%. I think that's a
But
completely
like
fair
everything
statement.
he's put in this foundation, it's everything you want to see from a guy at this age, level, and production.
Speaking of another prospect, we got Ronnie Mauricio. You guys obviously know he's been one of the top prospects in the Mets system for a long time. He had a pretty decent year as well. 259 average, 296 on base, 472 slugging, 767 OPS. That is the highest slugging percentage of his career, which is big.
Huge.
That also builds into the next stats I'm going to tell you about. 26 homers and 20 stolen bases. It's kind of sick for a guy who can be a
sick.
2020 guy at the age, I think he's 20, 21 years old as well. He's another young buck. Most home runs by anyone not named Francisco Alvarez in the farm system, so that's a cool thing. Daniel Palka, I think, technically tied him, but that's whatever.
It's John's boy.
He also had the most RBIs in the Mets farm system and 5th most stolen bases. The problem with Ronnie is that he doesn't walk.
No.
He's never going to walk. I think I've just accepted that he's never going to learn how to walk. But he did cut down the Ks a bit this year, so that's
did.
something to keep in mind, especially when he showed a boost of power.
And he was able to jump a level and not seem to get crushed.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. Like the fact that Ronnie Mauricio was able to go to AA and be able to play good baseball, still be better than league average, still just 21-year-old, which is still young for the level. That's a big deal. And the power is real and the speed is real. The speed's even funny because there have been some videos going around of him in the Winter League. He's playing for Lycée.
He's playing so good, by the way.
He
I
is
got
not-
his
he-
numbers.
I think he was just player of the week or the month or something. He just got awarded. I saw it on Lycée's Instagram.
10 games, 2 homers, 5 doubles, 11 RBI, stole 5 bases, and he has a 1068 OPS.
He had the inside the park home run too. Which I'm talking about because a guy like Ronnie Mauricio is so big. We've compared him to Brandon Marshall on this show before. He's like really that large. Yeah, I think he's 6'5", I want to say.
He's huge.
6'3", and he's listed at 170. There's no way he's 170
Baseball
pounds.
Reference has him at 222 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
What about the height?
6'3",
Okay, still 6'3". But 260, 222, that is an NFL wide receiver.
literally.
And he has those big, long strides. And when he gets going, he can really go, which is impressive. He's able to steal so many bases without that kind of jump and head
100%.
start. But the fact that he has been able to stick a shortstop and get at least moderately good reviews there, I think that raises his floor, something we've talked about.
I think no doubt there's going to be something here with Ronnie. I don't know what it is, and this isn't a bold statement by any means because he's been a top prospect forever, but I think there's something here with Ronnie that's cooking where you're like, this guy's going to be a ball player and he's going to have some value.
We also just heard just from people that we know in the industry and then also from everyone that's been talking for the last couple of years that he's been the center of a lot of trade negotiations. We don't know whether or not that was actually true this year, but years past we've heard. So he's a guy that's still coveted. He still is a guy with a big tool bag. And sometimes it just takes guys a little longer to actually find that stride. So maybe.
Now, before we get going into some more pitchers, I do have a couple more hitters I just want to briefly mention here in the prospect report.
I want to give one more comparison. This is a lofty
Oh,
comparison.
go for it.
It took O'Neill Cruz, so he was 24, to reach the major leagues.
I think it's a fair comparison.
Yeah,
I think it's a fair comparison.
Ronnie, I still don't think Ronnie has that ceiling just because he doesn't have the exit velocities. So O'Neill Cruz show that similar age. O'Neill Cruz already hitting the ball 115 miles an hour when he was 21. Ronnie's still hitting like in that 106, 108 range, which is still above average, but it's not that. But it's just sometimes when you're a bigger guy like that and you just kind of have a lot more limbs to deal with, it takes a little bit longer.
Yep. So now to talk about the other guy, because now I got some quiet guys that maybe aren't hearing too much about. Wyatt Young. I love this dude. This dude's going to be a ball player, no doubt. Again, I don't think he's going to be MVP, All-Star kind of thing necessarily, but he's going to be on this Mets team at some point.
We talked about him briefly in one of our last prospect reports.
He's
going to
be a player. He's going to be a player. 270 average, 369 on base, 383 slugging, 752 OPS. Basically played every single level this year.
How old is he?
He is, where'd I put it? I think he's like 23. Yeah. 23. He's 23, technically still 22, but he's going to be 23 next year. He just had a really, really good year. Showed a little bit of pop, 7 homers, 20 doubles. He walked 70 times. He had the highest on-base percentage in the Mets farm system for guys that weren't in the Dominican Summer League. So,
is there a catch?
Well, I mean, he doesn't really hit for any power. Oh. That's pretty much the biggest thing.
I'm seeing he's also my size.
Yes, he's 5'7", 185.
Yeah, so a little thicker than me, but yeah.
He's a ball player.
Baseball
walked
rat.
13% of the time, struck out under 20%. There's something there. And he plays second, short, and third base. Utility guy.
Definitely seems like something there. Seems like a guy who is probably very useful at some point for any team.
We had a couple other guys I want to mention too. Omar De Los Santos. Now, this guy is a weird story because he was a 22-year-old playing in St. Lucie, but kind of had a sick year. Take that for what it is, playing way above his age. But he had a 272 average with a 339 on base, 798 OPS. He stole 70 bases this year
at
A-ball.
Ridiculous.
70. That's tied for the most in minor league baseball.
And stealing bases at that level, because the rules were a little bit different. They have the pickoff rules actually coming to the major leagues next year. We're only allowed 3 throws over.
Something like that.
Yeah, and I don't know if they had the big bases or not, but it's almost like a test in baseball acumen if you can dominate that level just on the base paths. Like, I am better than these guys at this thing, and I will use that advantage completely to the fullest.
Yeah.
So cool to see that.
Stole 70 bases with 16 homers, 23 doubles, and 5 triples. I mean, there's some raw talent there. Again, Same thing. A lot of these guys, you'll be hearing that about. Last 2 guys I'm going to mention here on the offensive side before we start, talking about pitchers in Arizona Fall League. Jesus Baez is going to be the hot international prospect that the Mets have this offseason. 18th according to Baseball America. He's a 17-year-old, probably going to end up playing third base because of his size, but he has really good power and really good arm, and he had a good 54 games in the Dominican Summer League, 7 homers, 9 doubles. Good little year.
It's crazy. He's already listed as 180 pounds, a 17-year-old.
Yes, and what's crazy is he can still grow because he is a child.
Yeah, 17.
Yeah, he
got a couple more years in there.
He could be 6 feet by the next time we're talking about him.
He could be that right now.
He really could be, honestly. I don't know the last time they measured Jesus Baez.
No. It's very cool, though. You like to see just those tooled up guys that are in the system to try and, make the move to the next level.
100%. And the last guy that I found out about today, just doing some research and watching videos, I'm super excited about is William Lugo. This guy is going to be my weirdo to watch out for. Just like you haven't heard about him, but remember,
a graphic view though. Mark's weirdo to watch.
Yeah, remember you heard it here first on the Mets Up podcast. William Lugo, the dude hits. I put expletives in the notes, but he hits seeds. The exit velos are approaching 110 on balls that I could find, and I was not really looking at.
How old is he?
He is. Where did I put his age? I put his age somewhere. Did I not? He's like 20. I think. He is 20. He is 20 years old, and I'm giving him a lot of comparisons to Mark Vientos because their build, their size. Their entire thing is very similar. Vientos was drafted as a shortstop. This guy was supposed to be a shortstop. He's a third baseman because he's 6'3", 230. He's an absolute unit, and he hits the ball really, really hard. Played in 112 games this year, mostly between St. Lucie and Brooklyn. 14 homers, 25 doubles, 63 RBIs, 780 OPS, 121 WRC+. He's so incredibly strong. I think we could be seeing a Vientos-like trajectory for a guy like this.
Where'd they get him from?
I don't know where he's from. He's an international prospect.
Okay, international,
International prospect. So in terms of hitting, those are the big names I really wanted to talk about. We have some other guys that are in the fall league that we'll mention too later, but I know we want to talk about a little pitching too because James has he's a pitching whisperer.
I tried to. Ooh, Lugo actually got $1 million bonus.
Okay,
That's
good to know.
2018. Yeah, okay. But There's something there.
Keep an eye on William Lugo.
Yes.
Want to talk about your boy Ziegler?
I do want to talk about my boy Ziegler.
Good Canadian boy.
Yes, I don't even know if he's my boy. He's just become such like a popular pitcher at this point where it's almost like he seemed to be the guy that the Mets were hesitant to do anything with in the offseason, the trade deadline, because it seemed like there's a lot of potential in him. This year, pitched the whole year at St. Lucie, 16 starts, 46 2/3 innings pitched, 35% strikeouts, 18% walks, which is a little bit high. He's also someone who didn't exactly have the most traditional baseball background, so I'm sure he's still trying to refine the command, especially because he has very, 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 very active fastball and slider, which is his whole calling card. He's even a smaller guy, but just the specs on those pitches got him drafted in the second round, which is even a bit ambitious, I believe people thought at the time. Just having those two pitches, I mean, Ziegler has a floor of being at least a very good reliever at some point. And the ceiling is still, if he can harness those two completely and even add possibly another one, even possibly not, because we've seen a lot of starters now come to the league with just those two pitches. As long as those two pitches and you have the very active fastball and the darting slider, you can do it. I think Ziegler is a prospect who he's probably still a year away from being considered like a top 100-ish guy.
Definitely. He still walks too many guys.
Yeah,
still
walks
has
too many
command
guys,
issues.
and he still doesn't have like a starter's build necessarily.
Not yet,
so
yeah.
we're still concerned with how much he holds up over time. But he's a guy who like you can't watch his stuff and not be excited about what he could possibly have.
Live arm.
Yes, very live arm. Another couple guys who I am excited about. Excited about in different ways. One is Mike Vassell, who statistically was the most impressive Mets pitcher in the minor leagues this year. He won the Mets Minor League Pitcher of the Year award. He threw 71 in third innings, 3.5 ERA, 1.079 WHIP, which for a guy he was St. Lucie and then to Brooklyn, it's a very good season. 29% strikeouts, 9% walks, invited to the Arizona Fall League through 12 innings there, 3.65 ERA, 23% strikeouts, and 14% walks. But that
Small sample.
but the walks and strikeouts, those will be a little bit more indicative of a small sample, but probably a little bit better of competition than he was facing in the minor league season. He's someone, though, who I still think might wind up profiling just as more of a reliever. He dropped out of the 8th round in the draft 2021. He could have been a first-round pick, but he doesn't have exactly like... He doesn't really have the fastball that you covet as a starting pitcher.
It's really hard to get
a
drafted high. So coming out of high school, he would have been. But
because he has the velocity.
Yes, he has the velocity. It's just he ended up falling a little bit too because the COVID year killed him.
He was Virginia, right?
Yeah,
and
University of Virginia.
He got injured in college as well. But
everyone knows that there's something there. You gotta find
his
it.
slider's impeccable. And it seemed like that the Mets were really looking for sliders in that draft 2021 where they just took as many pitchers as they could find.
Yeah.
And his slider is amazing. That slider is a pitch that is going to keep him on top of his prospect list forever, possibly drag him to the major leagues one day. But the fastball, it isn't getting the whiffs that I don't think they thought it would get yet. And that's something that could definitely still be developed, something that could change a little bit, maybe something that moves to a cutter or two-seamer or sinker at some point. But it's more of a runner than a rider.
Definitely.
And with a guy with that kind of velocity, sometimes that leaves a little bit on the bone in terms of development. One guy, though, who I think has the fastball to get into the major leagues one day is Dominic Hamill. Third-round pick in that same 2021 draft, where the Mets took him, Ziegler, and Vassell.
DBU, he went to, he did a little JUCO thing as well. I think he went to Yavapai, which is a JUCO powerhouse as well.
Yavapai?
Yes.
Are you sure you're pronouncing that right?
Yeah. I
Wow.
don't know. Yavapai.
Yavapai.
It's
Sounds
Yavapai.
It really sounds Hebrew.
Okay. I don't know. I think it's Arizona or California, one of those.
With 25 appearances between St. Lucie and Brooklyn, put 119 innings on, which is really good. That's another reason why I think he does have a little bit more of this starters
100%.
Starters build. I think he's a bigger guy also than Vassell and Ziegler.
He's got another big shoulders.
Yes,
guy.
yeah. You get the legs, the hips, the pitcher's hips. 30% strikeouts, 11% walks, 1.15 WHIP. I think he's the guy who has the best chance to have multiple pitches. His slider is very good, and the curveball and the changeup are coming on. The curveball flashes more than the changeup has, but his fastball has the physics that you want a fastball. The fastball rises or appears to be rising. It rides. Basically, it's when you throw a four-seam fastball and you get a lot of backspin on it. So it appears like it's coming up on the hitter, and it kind of even makes it appear faster at times, and he has good extension, so it gets on him, but it gets whiffs. And the biggest thing we see, the difference between starting pitching prospects who make it and they hang on that starter's line, depending on the ones that fall off, become relievers, is getting whiffs with your four-seam fastball. And his velocity isn't even as good as Vassell's or Ziegler's. It's not, but the physics are better. And that kind of reminds me of a guy, he's not even as big, but a guy like Zach Allen, who he had the elite pitches, and the fastball, even though it didn't look that great, it kind of kept him underrated as a prospect for a very long time. But it's what dragged him to the major leagues. Of course, Gallen also has incredible command, and the curveball developed more than anybody could have imagined.
Brent Strom really helped him out too.
Yeah, Brent Strom would be nice, but he was good before Brent Strom.
No, I know, but I'm saying he took him to the next level.
The fact that he was able to get whiffs in the zone with a four-seam fastball, without elite velocity and without elite size, that is a very big deal. And I think Dominic Hamill is the guy who I'm looking at from this crop of Mets pitchers who's a little bit underrated right now, a little bit unheralded, and who could really be a riser.
I mean, that's good. You're talking about unheralded guys. I got a couple unheralded pitchers that I did some research on as well that I feel like are super, super interesting in this Mets farm system, which at times is talked about as not really having any pitching depth. So one of the guys is going to be Keyshawn Askew. Keyshawn Askew, 10th round pick out of Clemson, 2021 lefty.
Did we see him at the Fall League or in Brooklyn? I think we saw him
I
in
think
Brooklyn.
we saw him in
maybe last
Brooklyn.
year,
I think well, actually, I don't think so because I think he was in Brooklyn this year. I think we've seen the name around.
Maybe.
We're watching the Mets minor leagues a lot. But Keyshawn Askew has been really, really good this year.
Tell us about him.
Yeah, so in 18 appearances, 8 starts, 5 appearances in Brooklyn, 4 of them starts, 66 and a third innings, 34% K rate, 10% walk rate, whip at like 1, basically 1.07. Fish with an ERA under 2.5, which is great. And then I saw a crazy tweet from Michael Mayer back in August that he faced 80 left-handed hitters by August 24th, and he struck out 40 of them. If you watch him pitch, he looks like kind of Oliver Perez with his arm slot and everything. 6'4", 190, promising for sure.
Do you know where he went to college?
Clemson, I know.
Yeah,
It really hurts me to give anybody from Clemson any sort of props, but
it is cool though that a guy like that who came out of college, and I know he has a plus slider. And is he a guy who throws from like a one of these?
He throws like kind of here.
Yeah.
He doesn't.
Arm
it's weird
slot.
when he's 6'4", you think he would
Bad
use his height
podcasting.
more, but he's more of like that sidearm 3/4 slot.
All right, so I mean,
Like think of Oliver Perez. I feel like they look really similar.
and it's sinker, 2-seamer, slider. It's a good way to get to the major leagues quickly.
Another guy that's really interesting is going to be Grant Hartwig, which I feel like, John, you've brought that name up to us before.
A few times during the regular season, that is correct.
Yeah, Grant Hartwig's had a really interesting year. He was signed out of Miami of Ohio as a 24-year-old, so he was not drafted. 6'5", 235. This dude's a unit.
Was that the 2020 draft? That was a short one? Or
No, I think it was after 2021.
Really?
I think they
Wow.
signed him, or maybe even after this year. I don't know.
Real
Whatever it
diamond
was. 6'5", 235, and he has been nasty in relief this year. And he pitched at every level. 39 appearances, 56 and 2/3 innings, 1.75 ERA, a whip at 1.09, 35% K rate, 10% walk rate, pump in mid-90s. Struggled in the Arizona Fall League so far, but again, you're a reliever. You have one bad outing, your Fall League's ruined.
Yeah. I mean, he was undrafted in 2021. That's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, so to get value out of a guy that nobody wanted,
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty impressive.
I mean, it just sounds like there's like a guy who's a high probability to reach the major leagues as a reliever.
100%.
It's a big deal.
We saw a big reliever, Bryce Montes-de-Oca, get a shot this year.
Big
Mets
reliever.
have been finding some big guys, I gotta say.
I feel like this is also a thing that's kind of been proliferated more in the last few years, where teams are specifically like, you're going to be a reliever, and we know it right now.
Yes.
Because I feel like traditionally it was like, you're a starter, and you're not going to be a starter anymore, and now you should be a reliever.
Well, there's one guy that I want to talk about too as well.
There you go.
Eric Orze. Orze?
think we did this-
Orzy.
We've
Eric
done this so
Orzy.
many times.
I
it's
think his
Orz.
pronunciation's on.
It's Orzy.
It's Orze? Okay, Eric Orze. He is a guy who could be in the bullpen next year and making immediate impact. Like we brought up Drew Smith a lot this year as being like a guy who ended up being really, really valuable in this bullpen, but he started off the year as like, oh, he's going to be like the captain of the backup squad basically in relief. And I think Eric Orze has the potential to do that. We've talked about him before, 5th round pick out of the University of New Orleans. You know what I didn't know about him?
Tell me.
Dude beat cancer twice.
What?
Twice. And I think it was in the same year, which is
Awesome.
insane. He had testicular cancer in 2018, beat it, then got skin cancer later that summer, beat it. So, I mean, the dude's a fighter, to say the least. And he's a really, really, really good pitcher. 50 innings this year, 33% K rate, 6.7% walk rate. That's the best K to walk ratio in the Mets farm system. The one weird thing is that he gets hit hard and gives up nukes. I can't wrap my head around it, but
That makes sense, you know?
but he doesn't like.
That's the hater. You miss all the bats, and the one time they hit it, it goes.
He had like a 2K or home run per 9 this year, which is like insane and like high hits, but
We can call that statistically insignificant.
yeah, because when you see 33% K rate and 6% walk rate, I'll take that all day.
Yeah.
All day. Really good splitter.
One thing about Orzy, and I actually got to spend a lot of time with him in spring training last year.
Okay.
The nicest dude, the most focused dude, the most
Nice.
humble dude.
Love
Hell
that.
yeah.
You know, he loves to hear about other people's stories and their battles and talk about his own, and so open about it. But when it comes to baseball, and baseball is secondary with Eric Orzy,
Yeah.
if you look at his 2021 stats, that home run to fly ball rate was much lower than it was in 2022. There's a middle ground there that things are probably going to even out at
Yes.
some point.
Yeah, no, it's an unsustainable home run rate that he had.
Absolutely, absolutely. But yeah, I mean, it's impossible not to root for Eric Orzy. And like you said, definitely a guy that could be making an impact here at Citi Field next year.
100%.
I can't wait for that because, I mean, every Met fan should be in Eric Orzi's corner. I'm getting a jersey when he comes up.
Oh,
so.
100%.
down.
No, he's a beast. And hopefully we'll have him on the podcast next year when he
Hopefully,
gets
yeah.
his call up. Because
And Paisan, I'm assuming.
no, I don't think so.
No?
I don't know.
I don't know. He
We'll
told me
ask
he
him.
loved New Orleans, though.
There we go.
He went from New Orleans to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
That is crazy.
It's a different
I
kind
mean,
of-
also be specified from New Orleans to Coney Island.
Yeah. It's a little different.
A little different than most of Brooklyn.
Last pitcher guy that I want to mention is a guy who's not on the radar of anybody, it seems like right now. Jeffrey Colon. I want you, James, when you get a chance,
I'll take a look.
you got to take a look at him.
Yeah.
Been in the Mets organization since 2018, turns 23 next week. He spent this year with St. Lucie and Brooklyn, 19 appearances, 7 starts, 72 and 2/3 innings. Really, really good year quietly.
What pitches does he throw, you know?
So I asked Jacob Resnick. Shout out to Jacob Resnick.
tweet him?
Yeah, no, I DM'd him.
Nice.
If you guys don't follow him, make sure you do on Twitter at Jacob_Resnick. I asked him about Keyshawn Askew and Jeffrey Colon because I can't find anything on Colon. He said Colon sits about mid-90s. He's not sure what his off-speed is. It looks very slurvy because
Okay.
sometimes it looks like a curve, sometimes it looks like a slider. That's what I'll say about his pitches. But the numbers are there. 2.48 ERA, under 1 whip on the year.
Well, maybe that's what the Mets are trying to teach now, that little sweeper thing.
Yeah, and I will say this too. I wasn't sure whether or not he was a starter or reliever. That was also still up for debate because of how many appearances he made. He started a big game for the Cyclones late in the year, threw
Really?
7 innings, put them into the playoffs. That game that they won, he pitched 7 innings. I think he struck out 8 and gave up like a hit and a walk. They made it to the playoffs because of that. Dude has some life on his fastball. I think Jeffrey Colon's a guy we're going to keep an eye out for.
Life on the fastball is the whole thing. That's what it's all about. There's one pitcher I want to talk about that we talked about a lot last year.
Yeah.
Who was a rising star in the organization, Joel Diaz. Who he ran into some trouble this year, getting bumped up to St. Lucie. I think he was still only 18 years old, so still
he's
wildly
he's
young
a
for
baby,
the level.
yeah.
Child. And he's also even only, he's not even a big guy. I think he's like 6'1", 6'2".
I think he might be, yeah.
Yeah. So he has a curveball that's like almost plus like major league style right now. Like he used that pitch to completely annihilate the DSL, some of the best stats we've ever seen a Met have down there. And it was still very effective in St. Lucie, but his fastball is lagging behind. Somehow he got more ticks on it velocity-wise.
Okay.
And he still wasn't able to miss bats with it, though. I think it's just like one of those like just plain-o fastballs.
Yeah, probably.
So it seems like there's going to be you know what? Every single person in the Mets organization, they seem to love him.
Yeah.
The guys in development love Joel Diaz. He's very poised. He's very focused. He's very motivated. He's still incredibly young for as far and how good he's been so far. But he's going to be now one of these great development hurdles. That's probably one of the joys of this whole industry, to get this guy to get past this one hump and get to the next level. And people didn't think he developed more velocity, and he already did in the last 2 years without growing. So maybe there's even a couple more ticks in there. Maybe the 93, 94 becomes 95, 96 next year.
Guy's working.
It was just 91, 92, and we have so many ways to improve velocity at this point. But he's a guy who I think needs an update because he did struggle this year. Didn't really get many strikeouts, gave up a lot of the hard hit balls, and walked plenty of guys at St. Lucie.
For sure. And then to wrap up this minor league thing here real quick for you guys, just to mention some of the guys in the Arizona Fall League. We have Stanley Consuegra. I believe I'm pronouncing that right.
I think you want to just say Consuela.
Okay. Yeah.
Take the G out.
Sound like that. He's an interesting player, 21 years old. He really hasn't been able to play a lot because of injuries in the past. He's finally been healthy somewhat this year out in the Arizona Fall League. Big pop. Apparently has the best arm in the entire outfield system for the Mets, according to Baseball America. Just keep an eye on him. He has athleticism and all the physical tools to do things. Now he just has to be able to put it out on the field, which is tough when you've been hurt for the last 3 years. Christian Scott from the University of Florida. Seems like he's going to be a relief pitcher probably for the Mets. Yeah, big boy. Good stuff. Sits mid-90s. He's currently starting in the Fall League, which is probably just more so to stretch him out just because he didn't get a lot of innings, but keep an eye out for him. And then the last few guys, Kevin Kendall, Troy Miller, Brandon McElwain, who's used to be actually a quarterback at the University of South Carolina while I was there.
Did he play? Was he starting?
Oh, he started.
He was a starting quarterback.
He played as a freshman.
Is it Jim's kid?
No.
Okay.
No. As a freshman, he started games for the University of South Carolina. Let's just say this. He's a much better baseball player than he was a quarterback in South Carolina.
Jim McElwain, deep sea fisherman.
Yeah. legendary fisherman. Could have been a first-round pick coming out of high school, Brandon McElwain. Fun fact.
I like that. By the dip.
Yeah, by the dip. Luke Ritter and Franklin Sanchez. Not a lot on these other guys, though. The Fall League is kind of not really been a big priority, it seems like, for the Mets right now. There haven't been a lot of guys getting a lot of action because there's so many guys you have to swap in and out.
It's no Jordan Walker.
No, there's no Jordan Walker. So
Got a superstar.
take that for what it is. And I think that will be the end of our minor league wrap-up here.
They knew we weren't going this year, so you don't want to send the big guys.
Yeah, I mean,
that's why we had Beatty.
Yeah, we could talk to Beatty last year. I mean, I would have loved to talk to some guys, but
Oh, for sure, everyone.
busy men. You
Yeah.
got a job now, James.
I know.
Capitalist James.
Yeah, it's sad.
Now, to wrap up this episode, John hasn't been here in a long time.
No, John's a fair weather podcaster officially.
Yeah,
I don't know about
I
that.
got John tickets to the Ranger game, didn't show up for 3 weeks.
Sometimes he
I
comes.
heard
Sometimes
you
he
called me an
doesn't.
Islander fan first before we get. You called me an Islander fan.
No, I mean, you have to work too. You can't make any enemies.
Yeah.
I mean, John definitely doesn't have a job with the Mets besides working with us on the
I guess.
podcast or anything like that.
I root for 31 NHL teams. I don't root for the Devils though. I hate them. So I'll be honest about that.
Wait, are there how many NHL teams are there?
32 now.
32.
Really?
Vegas and Seattle made 32.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's some
Weird
trivia
31
for me.
for a few years.
Okay, that is some trivia for me, and I think that's a good way to segue into your trivia, John,
Oh yeah.
that you have for us.
Yeah, well, it's World Series time. Obviously, unfortunately, our team isn't in it, but World Series still a great time of the year. What's it called when all 4 sports leagues are going at once?
We just talked
The
about
cornucopia.
It.
No, it's
like
not.
the
I was
ne-
going to call it the
it's not-
cornucopia.
It's not the
The
Nexus.
Nexus?
It's something
No.
else. It's the I was just thinking about this.
You know it, Vito?
No, I have no clue.
Okay.
It starts with a C, but I don't know it. but-
Continuum.
No.
No, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, we got all sorts of ideas, but anyway, that's this time of the year, and it's a great time of the year. But yeah, I was thinking, hey, estimate
Sports Equinox.
the sports equinox.
Oh, there it
Sports
is.
Equinox.
Equinox.
There you
Nice.
go.
Yeah.
So yeah, we had you guys do the estimate, which by the way, we are going to have the payoff for that coming up soon.
Better be.
so,
Yeah,
oh,
it's
cold.
getting cold
don't
out there.
worry. Oh, don't worry.
I'm-
I'll be officiate. I'm getting the stripes out.
Nice.
jeez.
But yeah, figured a little trivia, always fun. We'll do World Series theme this time. Maybe
Okay.
we'll make this an off-season thing. So
Yeah.
I'm going to ask you guys 10 non-Mets World Series questions. Then I have 10 Mets World Series questions for
Okay.
you. So what we're going to do
20
is,
questions.
if you guys know the answer, just shout it out.
Just
You get
shout
it
it,
right,
okay.
you get
Yeah,
a point.
cool.
If you
All
get
right.
it wrong, you get a -1.
Okay.
Ooh, okay. Penalties.
All
Got
right,
it.
so here we go.
We're just shouting. We're not slapping.
We're just shouting.
Just shout it.
Okay.
And yeah, Vito, Taylor over there, if you want to be a ref, and we might have
I think it might
a
be
couple.
Vito. Taylor's busy with the cameras.
He's doing a great job. All right, here we go. Question number 1. Who was the first World Series between in 1903?
Oh, jeez.
That's not correct.
That's not correct either. Okay.
It's not even worth guessing because I just straight up. Be
Yeah,
guessing.
I don't have a clue.
We're out on
but
that one?
Yeah, out on that one.
All right, the Boston Americans and the Pittsburgh
Yeah,
Pirates.
never in my life would I have guessed the
All right,
Boston
I wanted to start you
Americans.
guys off with an easy one. Okay,
Yeah, an easy one. he says. Are we going to get a single one?
number 2.
127
What
is it?
pitcher has the most World Series victories all time?
Ooh. Oh, I'm
I'm just going to give you a clue.
Yeah.
You got to think Yankees.
Okay.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Don Larson.
No, -1.
Damn.
I might as well throw a guess now.
Was Don Larson a
Roger
Yankee?
Clemens.
No, -1 for both of you guys. Whitey Ford.
Oh, no. That's what I thought it was.
gonna-
I was
Ford
going to
with
say
10.
Whitey. I didn't want to say it.
Why
Damn
do
it.
you? Oh, man.
Okay.
I mixed him up with Don Larson.
That's all right.
Yeah.
You threw the perfect game.
Yeah.
What player has the most World Series hits all time?
Yogi Berra.
Correct.
Oh, that was a good guess. That was smart.
Yep.
That was smart.
Back to 0, baby.
Okay,
All right.
nice.
Question 3. The World Series was canceled 2 times in baseball history. What were those 2 seasons?
Oh, what year? Oh.
1990.
This is the easy one.
Oh,
1994.
That's one of
Yeah, I
them.
know
Now,
that
what's
one.
the other one?
I don't know the other one. There had to be like a war.
There was no war.
I know the range, but I don't want to guess and lose the point. Give me half a point.
Yeah, I'll give you half the point.
I'm just going to call that a void, sort of like the Diaz. I mean,
Yeah.
unless Mark thinks half a point's good.
No, I'll give him half a point.
All right. Well, the other one was 1904. The New York Giants.
Yeah.
They protested and they were like, "We're not showing up."
Never.
Wasn't
Yeah.
gonna get that. Wasn't there another strike shortened year in the 80s?
Yeah, but I think
They
they
No,
played
there
it.
was a split season in
Okay,
81,
yeah,
but they
okay,
played the World Series. Okay, question number 4. Chicago Cubs won the World Series in 2016, as we know. Prior to that was 1908. Who'd they beat in 1908?
Oh. Bang. New York Yankees.
No.
Dang it. Okay.
Boston Red Sox.
No, so that nullifies. It was the Detroit Tigers.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
All right. Shout out to Tigers.
What team currently has the longest World Series drought?
Bang. Cleveland Guardians.
Correct.
Let's
Okay.
go.
So 1.5 to 1.
Nice. I'm on the board, baby.
All right, this one's going to be a tough one, and I don't even know how we're going to really officiate it.
Okay.
But name the active franchises that have never won a World Series.
Bang.
Colorado Rockies.
That's
Oh,
one.
Yeah, I don't need to buzz in.
No.
Rockies.
No, you've been doing.
Texas
Yeah, I don't know why I've been
Rangers.
doing
Texas
that.
Rangers.
Yes, Texas Rangers.
San Diego Padres.
Yes.
Cleveland. No, I lied. Don't say that one. How about the Seattle Mariners?
Yes.
How many more are there?
I think there's 2 more. I
There's
don't.
2
I don't.
more?
Yeah, there's 2 I haven't heard you guys say.
You haven't heard us say.
Maybe you did say
How
that
about the
in-
Tampa Bay Rays?
That is one, yes.
And
the other
how-
one I was surprised by, but then I thought about it and I was like, yeah, no, they haven't won a World Series.
How about the Milwaukee Brewers?
Yeah.
I should get a
Yes.
point for that. I had more answers.
No, I think we just had 3.
I had 4 there. Excuse me.
I don't know.
I had
The
4
Brewers, that's a tough one. They've only
Yeah.
been to one World Series. That's kind of crazy.
That is
crazy.
big.
They blew it
pretty
in
crazy.
2018.
They did.
Okay.
there. Point to Mark.
What pitcher
Half a point.
Okay.
was on the mound when the Red Sox ended their curse in
Keith Falk.
2004?
Falk.
Okay, that's correct.
Dang it.
Bonus. Who made the last out for the Cardinals that year?
I'm not gonna guess a random player. unless it-
Do I lose a point if I guess on a bonus?
No.
Uh,
Oh, but you can get a point.
Yeah. Just throw it out there.
Oh, Yadier Molina,
No.
Scott Spezio.
No.
Okay.
Albert Pujols,
No.
David Eckstein.
No.
Jim Edmonds.
No. We're just going down.
Yeah,
Who
Who
was
was
it?
the
Who was
lineup?
it?
Edgar Renteria.
Oh, okay. all right.
Chopper
Okay,
back
yeah,
to the
that's
mound.
fair.
Forgot on there.
Doug
I got that
Mankiewicz,
point.
Put
first
the ball
base,
in his
right?
pocket.
Doug
Yep.
Mankiewicz.
2.5 to 2.
Yeah.
Maybe 2.5 to 1.5.
All right. Who was the last player with a walk-off hit to clinch a World Series?
Ooh.
So not just a walk-off hit in a World Series game, but to win the whole enchilada.
That's. I got it. Luis Gonzalez.
Yes.
Good one. Wasn't gonna
Against
say
the
that.
great Mariano.
Yeah.
Tough one for the Yankee
Yeah, blew
fans.
that one. That was rough.
It's a shame.
And here's our last one, and this is kind of just a gag. How many days has it been since the Yankees last played in a World
Oh,
Series
God.
game?
All right, so we're ending on a tie. It
A while.
seems.
Yeah.
All right, so we're a tie halfway through. With
Yeah.
just, now
the
we gotta
answer,
go
by
to
the way,
Mets
is
one.
4,745. It's been a while.
It's a good day.
That is a long
It's been a good
time.
amount of days. I like
right.
that.
And tomorrow it'll be one more.
That's
Ooh.
right. And this is on November 1st, so
And the
there will
next
be one
day.
more tomorrow
Yeah.
and the next day. All right, now we get into Mets World Series trivia. First question. How many World Series have the Mets been in?
5.
Yes, that is correct.
I had to count. It is 5, yeah.
Yeah. People forget about 73.
Yeah, I know.
Everyone forgets
Yeah,
about
it's a tricky
73.
one.
I was like, I know it's 4,
Shout out
but
Willie Mays.
what's the 5th?
And
All right.
Yogi. Shout out Yogi.
And Yogi, well, Yogi, apparently, I mean, people have issue with what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
he was there.
he was
He
there.
was there.
Okay. What pitcher has the most World Series victories in Mets history?
Kuzman.
Yes.
Oh,
Ooh,
man.
baby.
James
James is
crushing it.
quick. I'm thinking too much. I gotta throw out names.
Nah, those are easy ones, dude. You can't react to those. What kind of Mets historian are you?
Sorry.
All right. Who led the Mets in hits in the 1969 World Series?
Cleon Jones.
Nope.
Ooh.
Okay. Take a point off for him.
Mm-hmm.
69. Let's go with led the team in hits, huh? I don't got to guess.
No?
I'm not guessing.
Nah,
again.
I don't think I'm not
I really
confident enough.
th-
I'm
I
going to
really
lose a
thought it
point,
was Cleon.
and I'm happy to just be tied with James right now again.
No, I'm up 1.
You just lost the point because you got that one wrong.
Yeah, but I got 2 and I lost 1, so
All
I'm up
right,
1.
whatever. They'll figure it
You're
out.
not
in
good history
post.
or math.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, the answer is Ron Swoboda.
Never would have guessed him.
That was,
Right.
that was the other guy I was in between.
Now, who was the MVP of the 1969 World Series?
Cleon Jones.
Nope.
Damn it.
I don't know. I thought it was Cleon Jones.
Yeah, see? I thought it was for
He did
sure.
hit 340 that
He
year.
had a great series. Everyone talks about how good of a series he had.
Great season. He was incredible.
Man,
and he caught the last out.
He did, yeah. It's true.
Who was
I'm
it?
done guessing, but was it one of the pitchers?
No, it was Don Clendenin.
Oh,
Yeah,
Don
I wasn't gonna
Clendenin.
guess
Tough
that.
yeah.
one. I mean, these are tough, obviously.
Yeah, it is,
yeah,
of course, of course.
Okay. Who was the 1986 World Series MVP?
Ray Knight.
Yes, good
Damn
one.
it, you beat me to
Up
it.
3.
All right. So you can your magic number is like 2 here.
See, I'm
It's happened before.
I'm a visual trivia man. Yeah, this has
No,
happened
you're usually
before.
good when we do the trivia like on the show just without keeping score.
Yeah.
You're usually way better at that than me.
It's past my bedtime.
All right, the Mets won,
not.
unfortunately. One
Most of the time you
game.
wake up and the time you go to bed.
The Mets won one game in the 2000 World Series.
yeah.
But who was the winning pitcher in that game?
Rick Reed.
No. Yeah, I think he started it, but he was not the winning
That's
pitcher.
unfortunate. Oh,
I don't know.
I really felt good about Rick Reed.
I mean, you were 4. You should remember it.
I know I should, but if it's gonna be a reliever, who else was a reliever? If
I
it
don't-
was Armando Benitez, I'm gonna be sick.
He got the save.
Okay,
I don't got it.
Johnny Franco.
right.
I could
Yeah.
have guessed it.
your uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's not.
All right, here's a good one. Who has the most hits in Mets World Series history? Think about it. Think
Ooh.
about it.
hits in Mets World Series history. Think about it, he says. Think about it.
Well, I'm just saying don't rush an answer out there.
Okay. I'm
Logically, I
gonna go Ron Swoboda.
Nah.
Okay. 69-73. I thought
That's
that
all
Oh,
was-
right.
the key,
Is
the
it-
key is
yeah,
it's
someone
got to
on
be a
both of those
73,
teams?
69
yeah.
Met.
I don't remember who else on those teams. I believe Cleon was off the team before 73, if I remember correctly.
I'm going to gift a hint. Sorry, Mark.
You can guess
What the
again.
hell is that?
You're
Yeah,
close to the
yeah,
point. You
guess
can guess.
again.
You can
Yeah.
get it back.
I'm losing, so.
Catcher.
Oh,
Jerry Grody.
Yes.
I was thinking Mackie Sasser, and I knew it wasn't him.
No, it was definitely
I
not
know,
Mackie Sasser.
I know. But that was.
Oh, is that a 4 or 5 point lead? I think we might be
That's,
cash.
yeah, don't worry about
We
it.
have 3 questions left. Okay.
Take him behind the barn.
2 players are tied for the most home runs in Met World Series history. Who are they?
Most home runs in Met World Series history
With 3.
with 3. How about give me? Oh man,
I'm trying to think about 86.
someone would have had to have a big series though.
Was it Ray Knight in 86?
No.
Nope.
Okay, 69-73. Give me
running game 7 too.
give me Cleon Jones.
No.
Okay.
The other guy who you should have guessed
Ron
earlier.
Sabota.
No.
Don Clendenin.
Yeah, we just heard he was the MVP.
Clendenin.
But so the other one, you guys actually should know.
Okay. Wait, what?
The other one with 3 home runs, you guys should
Oh.
know.
Was it Michael Conforto?
No, he only had 2.
Oh.
Who else had a big series, power-wise? People forget about his leadoff home run in Game 5.
Curtis Granderson.
Yes.
Oh.
He also homered in Game 1.
He did the home run
Ooh,
in
that's a
game
good
one.
sneaky
Homer in
one.
game
That
three.
is a good
It's
sneaky one.
such a sneaky question.
He had 3 homers in that World Series.
Wow.
Hard to remember when they lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of just block it out.
Yeah, I
just-
don't really want to think
ignore,
about
I
it.
ignore that whole series in my brain. Like I internalized it, and it's like
I saw-
compartmentalized somewhere like deep in the
Saw
cerebellum.
Cespedes drop that ball, and I said it's over.
I cried in public on Halloween.
How old were you?
couple years
I
older than
was,
us, like
yeah, I was
24?
out of college. I mean,
You were too old to cry, I think.
no,
Yes.
dude, no.
I
Dude,
got pretty sad after we lost.
I
you
was
kidding?
sad.
No, I cried in Game 4 was the night. I was there for Game
Yeah.
5. I was numb at that
was-
point.
I was here
That
at
was
Game
the
5 too.
Murphy,
Yeah.
Yes. Like I remember my
Bartolo.
wife, girlfriend at the time, was like, "Yeah, let's go out. A Halloween costume." I'm like, "Leave me alone. It's Game 4." And she got what she asked for. She got an unhappy John, and you guys
And-
can imagine how that went.
That must have been fun.
Imagine that. That's your wife.
Yeah. Well, whatever. All right.
She's not listening, is she?
I-
We broke Taylor. John broke Taylor.
all right. Before Mookie Wilson's grounder that went through Buckner's legs, the Mets are down to their last out.
This.
3 guys had hits to keep it alive.
we've talked about
Who
this.
were
Keith
they?
Keith Hernandez,
Gary Carter?
Kevin Mitchell.
No, Keith Hernandez went into the manager's
Oh,
office.
Gary
and was
Carter.
upset.
Definitely Kevin
Gary
Mitchell.
Carter.
Kevin Mitchell.
Yes.
Who's the third?
Mm-hmm.
Who was the third?
Oh,
Oh, it had to be Ray Knight. Scored the run.
Here comes Knight, and the
yeah,
Mets win it.
duh,
There
it
you
has
go.
to be right now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we got that one though. It was
There
a
we
team
go.
effort. Good job.
Team effort.
Good
Killed
work.
it.
All right, last one. What Met made the final out of the 2015 World Series?
I don't even
John, this is
care.
painful.
It's not even in my
Wilmer
brain.
Flores.
Yep.
Oh.
And
Yeah.
Drew Butera, who the Mets traded for Luis Castillo,
know.
was the catcher that caught
I
that
know.
final strike
I know.
And it
Bartolo
was like a
pitched.
5-run game.
Bartolo pitched the last inning, I believe, as well. I think
for the
Bartolo.
Mets.
Yeah.
I remember Christian Colon had the go-ahead hit.
Yes, but
Was
I think
that Colon on Colon? No, it was Addison Reed.
No, yeah, but I
Addison
think
Reed got the
Bartolo.
loss.
I think got the
Came in and like
Yeah, cleaned
Gotcha.
it up
Why'd
at
you
the
say
end.
that? Why do we have to close like that?
Well, how about we close on a happy note here, John? Someone recognized you at the gym today.
Oh yeah, that's true. Shout out Dan.
I didn't
There
make
I
it through
am.
this whole hour 15.
Yeah.
He saved the very best for last. Yeah, there I am at 8 a.m. just trying to wake up, working on the old pythons here, and
Got kill John's mic.
and yeah,
Getting wacky hours.
comes up to me, gives me a fist pound, and yeah, he said that we helped him get to the wild card and loyal listener the entire season. So shout out Dan, appreciate you saying hi this
Shout you out,
morning.
Dan. Thank
Dan, you
you.
got to see how this went to his head, right to his head. Recognize John.
Oh, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
Recognize, texted us immediately.
I know.
Let us know.
Well,
That was
just
really-
so I wanted to make sure that we got
No,
we
of
gave
course. So
Dan
make
his
sure
due
everybody knows.
diligence.
make sure everyone knows that John got recognized
Thank God.
today.
John
Well, I'm
got
not
recognized.
Mark.
No.
I'm not Mark.
Not everybody can.
Going to a
be,
game
come
with
on.
Mark's insane. It's funny when people also like don't know and like we hang out with them at games like what the holy crap.
Yeah, I know. It's
My
interesting.
mom that one time.
Yeah.
Like, this is unbelievable.
No, it is. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty crazy. And hopefully we get more of that next year.
For sure.
Wrap up the episode here, guys. Thank you so much for listening, watching to a long episode. But we owed you one. We owed you one. We've been so short recently.
Yeah.
Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Next episode, World Series should be over, and we will talk about the offseason.
2-0 Phillies, by the way. Bryce Harper 2-run home run.
Shut up.
John, we're trying to end the podcast. Follow us on all our social media at MetsUp on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. YouTube channel, New York Mets YouTube channel. And if you like what you're listening to here, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, Odyssey, wherever you get us, drop us a rating, drop us a review. Follow James on Twitter at
James_Shiano.
me at Giraffneck Mark with a C. Thank you guys for listening and watching, and we'll catch you next time. Peace out.
Peace out, guys. See you next time.
Go Stros.